All right, buckle up for a proper deep dive today. We're talking Chelsea-West Ham,
Oh, yeah?
a London derby.
Yeah, yeah, you know it's gonna be
It's going to be a good one, and I think,
like
our listeners love these kinds of matches.
huge history, yeah.
Yeah, lots of history, always some tension, and we've got a ton of stuff to get into.
Yeah.
Pre-match stats we want to look at,
Yeah.
some insight into both teams' form, and even some, I think, really interesting historical tidbits that some people might not know.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what's really fascinating to me about this matchup is that it really pits Chelsea's home dominance against their recent struggles
Right.
because they've only lost once in their last 16 games at Stamford Bridge,
That's right.
which is
At
incredible.
home, they've been a fortress.
Yeah, they're really tough to beat there.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, they're coming off a string of kind of disappointing results with only one win in their last 7 Premier League matches.
Yeah, they've been a little bit inconsistent, for sure.
So it's a real clash of narratives,
Yeah.
right? So can Chelsea use that home advantage to turn their form around?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough question. And I think it becomes even tougher when you consider West Ham's own recent struggles.
Right.
They've lost 4 of their last 6.
Yeah.
And then, let's not forget those heavy defeats against Chelsea in their last 2 meetings.
Yeah, that has to be weighing on West Ham's minds, I'd say. A loss here would be their third straight league defeat against Chelsea, which hasn't happened since 2011.
Wow.
And, their manager, David Moyes, has a unique history with Chelsea, right? He managed them previously.
That's right, he did.
And it's a bit of a strange coincidence, but 8 former Chelsea managers have never won a Premier League game back at Stamford Bridge after leaving the club.
Isn't that wild?
That's a crazy stat.
Do you think that, is that something that Moyes is thinking about, or is that just a
Well, I
part?
think it's an interesting subplot for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think his past experience at Chelsea will affect his approach to this match, or are we reading too much into things?
It's hard to say for sure. Obviously, we're not in his head,
Right.
but you got to figure it's got to be, I would think it adds some extra pressure.
Yeah, he's got to be at least a little bit aware of it.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think it's going to be a really intriguing tactical battle because obviously Moyes will be determined to prove himself against his former club,
Right.
but that could also lead to him, overthinking things
Yeah.
or feeling that extra pressure and making a mistake.
And it'll be interesting to see how he sets his team up to play because
Absolutely.
if you think about, okay, if we were to shift to some of those individual battles that you talked about, keep an eye on Nicolas Jackson for Chelsea
Mm-hmm.
and Emerson for West Ham.
Right.
Because both of these guys, when these two sides meet, these two players seem to have a knack for making things happen.
Yeah. And Jackson in particular, he's been a real problem for West Ham.
He's been a thorn in their side.
He was directly involved in 6 of the 8 goals that Chelsea scored against them in their last 2 encounters.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah. He just seems to,
He's got their number.
he just seems to show up in a big way in these matchups.
And then Emerson also loves the London Derby.
He does, yeah.
All his last 3 goals before his most recent one were scored in London derbies, including one against Chelsea.
Oh, interesting.
So I think these 2 guys are definitely going to have something to prove.
So, yeah, it sounds like these two players have a score to settle.
For sure.
Now, we got to talk about tactics.
Okay, let's do it.
Because I think there's one area where West Ham has been really vulnerable this season, and it could play right into Chelsea's hands.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking their tendency to concede early goals.
Absolutely. That's a huge issue for them.
It's remarkable.
They've let in a league-high 9 goals in the opening 10 minutes of matches this season.
So, if I'm Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
I'm going full throttle from the first whistle.
Right, from the kickoff.
Yeah, so tactically speaking,
Yeah.
how do you think Chelsea can exploit that weakness?
Well, I think you're going to see Chelsea pressing really high and intensely right from the start.
Right.
They'll be looking to force some errors from West Ham's defenders, their midfielders.
Yep.
And, with Jackson's pace and directness,
Yes.
they could really cause some chaos
Oh, yeah.
in those early minutes for sure.
And how do you think West Ham might try to counter that? What do you think Moyes' approach will be?
I think they've got a couple of options, right? They could try to sit deep and absorb that pressure,
Okay.
hoping to kind of weather the storm
Yeah.
and then hit Chelsea on the counterattack.
Uh,
Or they could try to match Chelsea's intensity and go toe-to-toe with them from the start,
Right?
which is obviously a lot riskier, but it might surprise Chelsea.
It might catch them off guard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Moyes goes with, because he can be a very cagey manager.
Yeah.
Sometimes he likes to set his team up to be more defensive and kind of absorb pressure. But then other times he's not afraid to, let his team go out there and attack.
Yeah, he's not afraid to take a risk when he needs to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's recap everything we talked about because there's a lot to unpack here.
A lot going on.
We got Chelsea's home strength, their dominance at Stamford Bridge.
Yep.
West Ham's kind of, their struggles in these derbies.
Their derby woes, yeah.
Their derby woes.
Especially against Chelsea.
Especially against Chelsea.
Historically.
Yeah.
For sure.
You've got Moyes returning to Stamford Bridge as a manager.
That's right.
You've got the potential Jackson-Emerson matchup, which I think is going to be really fun to watch.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see those two go head-to-head.
Yeah, and then you've got that early goal vulnerability for West Ham, which I think is a massive factor.
Yeah, if Chelsea can get an early goal.
If they can get 1 or 2 in those first 10 minutes, I think that completely changes the game.
Oh, absolutely. It changes the whole complexion of the match.
Yeah, for sure. So, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, I think this match has all the makings of a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got everything you want in a London derby.
The tension, the rivalry, the history.
The individual battles, the tactical nuances.
Yeah, and the fact that both of these teams desperately need a result.
Oh, yeah, the stakes are high.
So, what kind of match are you expecting? Give me a prediction.
Prediction, huh? All right, I'm going to say Chelsea wins, but it's going to be close.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you think West Ham will get a goal back, but...
I think they'll make it interesting.
Yeah, okay, I like that prediction.
What about you? What are you thinking?
I'm going to be a little bit bolder. I think Chelsea's going to win, but I think they're going to win convincingly. I'm going to say 3-0.
Oh, wow.
I think they're going to come out and make a statement.
A statement win.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but, this is the Premier League. Anything can happen.
That's what's so great about it. You never know. So, what do our listeners think?
Yeah, let us know your predictions.
Who do you think's going to win?
What kind of match are you expecting? We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll be back next time for another deep dive.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
See you.